Hello, my name is Teye. I'm a guitar maker and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the stuff I build and why I build it this way. The, um, the most important thought behind what I was trying to do was I come from the flamenco and classical guitar world where you will typically bring one guitar to every gig and the one guitar will do it all. In flamenco, dance accompaniment, vocal accompaniment, solo pieces, modern pieces, the ancient gypsy pieces from the hills. In classical, baroque, modern classical, the romantics, all of it you do on one guitar and you steer the sound by playing differently. Now on the electric, I find myself taking 3 or 4 guitars to the gig just to cover all the ground that I think I need. And I've always wondered why that is. When you play electric, it's kind of a given. When you play classical and flamenco, it is such a given that you do not, that I really wondered, coming from that world, why is it that with the electric I have to do that? Wouldn't it be great if I could just have one guitar that I could at least emulate?
You keep going.
That you can at least emulate all the sounds that you think you need. I always thought it's just wood and coils, and it should be somehow possible to make a really broadband guitar and kind of filter out what you think you don't need at any given point. This of course required lots of experimentation, and at the end I actually think I did it. And this was just for myself. I just built a guitar for me, just to address all those issues that I had with existing guitars. And then, of course, people started picking up on that. And then I had a line around the block wanting to buy one. And before I knew it, I was a guitar builder. So here's the story. Let me show you what this thing can do. This is one of my E series, La India. This is the one right below the A series, except it has all, acid engraved plates. It just misses, the final touch, so to speak. The guitar looks like kind of the body shape of a Les Paul, so you think that you can get those big rock tones of the famous Les Paul into a big stack. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah, I think it can. So let's see if we can do some other stuff. Now I have, in order to be able to make it a really versatile guitar, I have come up with some really unorthodox ways of doing things electronically. Now you still have 2 humbuckers here, or as I prefer to see them, 4 coils that I can play with. You have a 5-way blade switch, and to get that out of the way right away, I call down, all the way down, I will call that position 1 on the switch. And some people like to call the other way around, but I see it this way. So when I refer to position number 2, I refer to this one right next to the down position. Right. So I have a 5-way blade switch on a 2 pickup guitar, which is kind of unusual. I have volume knobs that have been wired to the tradition of the 1930s hi-fi, so that actually it's almost like bringing up 2 faders on a mixing desk. What I do on this volume does not influence the other pickup, which is not true for the vast majority of electric guitars, where when you have the pickup selector so that both are activated, when you kill one volume knob, your guitar is now shorted out. There's nothing coming out at the output. This is not the truth for this guitar. You have still the other pickup working, which makes it extremely easy to blend in a little bit. Let's say you have you're playing rhythm on the bridge pickup and you think, I wish I had some warmth added to this. You roll the neck pickup all the way to 0, you switch it on and you bring it up to where you want it, much like you would put cream and sugar in your coffee, just exactly to where you want it. Good. So the volume knobs have been wired differently. I will show you how this affects just a slight downturn. I have the guitar on the bridge pickup right now, and I have the volume all the way up. When I turn it down just a little bit, it almost turns like into one of those mini humbucker pickups that Gibson used in the early 1970s. Listen, turn it down just a little bit. You add an enormous amount of clarity to the tone just by turning it down. This is not your typical treble bleed cap, which would be much more aggressive. This is actually sophisticated circuitry. And one thing I like to stress at this point, the circuitry that is in this guitar is all passive. There are no active electronics, there are no batteries, no phantom powers, there are no solar panels. This is all passive, just coils, driving resistors and capacitors, driving a cable and going straight into my little amp, which I also built. It looks like a Vox, but it certainly isn't when you take it apart. Okay, there's another knob on this guitar that is very unconventional, and it's called the mood knob. And you can take the mood of the guitar all the way from Lester to Leo. And it's not a coil tap. It has some playing with coils in there, but in a different way that you normally would suspect. It has some other parts, and it is very interesting. And it is black boxed. Don't try to take this apart. You will destroy it. And then where do you go for warranty repair? So, we'll roll down the mood knob all the way to... First of all, we're going to roll all the volumes up again and show you where we are right now. Now I'm going to roll the mood knob all the way down, and I'm going to roll the volume a little bit down too. You know, working on the assumption that your average single coil guitar is not as hot as your average humbucker guitar. So listen to this. It's got that really sharp twang to it, you know? Now, the great thing of this is that it's not so much a switch as it is a knob. You can find a sweet spot on it. You know how sometimes you have a Telecaster that is a little bit more rock and roll, a bit more punchy? Well, guess what? I can emulate that. Just by working the mood knob and finding my specific sweet spot. Alright, one control we have not really talked about, which is the tone knob. And I guess you already can sort of kind of predict what's coming. I have not left the tone control alone. I have actually put a slightly different circuit in there than what you find on other electric guitars. And you will hear that as I roll the tone knob down, it's not so much that you cut off treble, but that I'm actually repositioning a frequency curve, almost like a wah-wah pedal. So, I put the tone knob, the mood knob on 10, I put volume again on 10, I put the tone on 10, and you will hear this guitar almost react as a Les Paul with added bite, almost like an SG with more body to it. Listen to it. So if I wanted to emulate a Les Paul, then I would just roll the tone knob back to about, I don't know, 7. Just figure it out on your own Teye guitar. And I would actually not just take some treble off, so there's some high frequencies off. I would also reposition the frequency curve more towards the low mids, which will actually make the guitar sound bigger. So let's go for it. if I take the tone control down further, you will hear that I'm almost going into that you know, that fixed position wah kind of tone. This has everything to do with the way you are hitting the first preamp stage of your amplifier. Provided it has enough gain to do such a thing, it will really start to work with, you know, in conjunction with the filtering I have going here, and give you that really nasal cocked wah position sound. I have to add and stress that this is all passive. That's very important. If you are like me, you really, you know, although I do not really adhere to any vintage build techniques, I still really believe in the magic that happens between just coils, cable, and first stage of the amp with nothing in between. All right, I've demonstrated a little bit the bridge pickup. Now I will go to the other extreme, what I call position 5, which is the neck pickup all by itself. And you will see that it has a lot of the same characteristics, only a bit warmer tone, because it's the neck pickup, obviously. So you got the big tones. Roll the volume down a little bit, it clears up. All the way open. A little bit down. Further down. Mood knob, magical. It almost turns into almost like right up Leo's alley. Great. So let's see what happens when we have everything up, mood knob up, volume up, and I'll turn the tone down. Turn it down all the way. So I'm repositioning the frequency curve to the lower mids, and you will hear this. It's almost as if I had a fast phase going. And believe me, there is no fast phase in this guitar. It's just the way the guitar is driving the front end of that amp. And you even get that those weird subharmonics that the fuzz phase typically gives. Of course, the fuzz phase didn't invent those subharmonics. They're in every guitar and they're in every amp, just as long as you hit that front end in the right way, which apparently with my tone control, you do. You know, it's almost there's a secondary tone underneath all that. This is it for the neck pickup, and of course you don't have to use the controls to these extremes. You know, you can just say mood all the way up, tone about halfway, volume about halfway, you know, and you go you know, you can get the jazzy tones and all that. There's a lot hidden under these controls that you can find, and you'll be surprised that you will find, that goes a bit far to demonstrate all of it, because like literally like a 16th of a tone will make a difference. And the best thing for you to do is to experiment for yourself. Let's go to what I call position number 3, and what probably everybody would call position number 3, because it's the middle one. I have now both pickups on, running and adding to each other. So you have the more nasal sound of the bridge pickup combined with the warmer tone of the neck pickup. And you can make it sound really nice and bluesy. So you got this combined with that, giving you this. If you roll the mood knob down, you're almost playing like almost an entirely different guitar, especially when you turn the volumes down a little bit. Now, I'm going to show you something really interesting, and this is called the Peter Green sound. Peter Green is kind of famous for something. He was a fantastic guitar player, played in several famous bands. He replaced Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds in 1967. Not in the Yardbirds, in the Blues Breakers. Sorry. So he's in the Blues Breakers. He's touring the United States of America. In 1968, his neck pickup dies. And he brings the guitar to Repair Center, and they fix his pickup and put the magnet back in the wrong way around. So instead of this pickup giving the same signals, the same direction of signals to the amp and the loudspeaker as this pickup, it has it now turned around, electromagnetically turned around. So normally, when you combine the pickups, when a string moves this way, I'm just, by chance, because it depends on what filtering and what stuff you have in the amp. But let's say the string goes down, speaker goes forward. This, same thing, string goes down, speaker is pushed forward. Now if you have this magnet turned around, or vice versa, if you have the wires turned around, this pickup moves the speaker forward, and at the same moment, this pickup pulls it backward. And of course, it's being pushed forward with the nasal tone, and it's pulled backward with a warm tone. So basically what you are left with is the difference of the tones. So instead of adding these pickups to each other, when you are out of phase, you are subtracting the signals from each other. And it sounds like this. First we add. Now we subtract. That is your famous Peter Green sound. This is all good and well, and you can probably use it for some really nice and funky stuff, but it becomes really, really efficient when you can start blending the pickups. This is the advantage of the way I wire the volume controls, that you actually can. With one, you can dial one in without affecting the other. So I leave it in this position. I will bring up the neck pickup and start playing, and then I will bring up the bridge pickup until it really starts strangling that neck pickup. And then I will figure out exactly where I want to be for the sound I have in my head for that moment. Neck pickup on, I play. I bring up this one. It's already a bit more nasal. Now we're going to go real. Now I'm really nasaling it out, and then I can just find exactly where I want to be. Or I can do it the other way around. Have this one on and bring that one up until it really strangles it, and then find out what mix I really want to have. Bring this one up. And you can find your own tone. In my humble opinion, it really becomes interesting when you turn the mood knob all the way down. This is no longer Peter Green, I don't think, but it is a Teye, and that's what you're actually testing. All the way down. That is position 4 on the switch. This is not all. Strange as it may seem, this is not all on this guitar. You have another little trick up your sleeve with this guitar. Imagine you are accompanying a singer, and the singer says, I'm going to need an acoustic guitar intro on one song. Great. Now you have to pack, string, bring, tune, connect, and play an acoustic guitar. And in the middle there's a solo. Now you can hardly play the solo because you don't have the big Les Paul in your hands, you know. What if you could emulate an acoustic guitar just on your electric guitar? This is kind of a surprise for me, because I just ran into this when I was experimenting with the exact values of the components for the 1930s hi-fi. But listen to this. Mood knob all the way on 0. Tone, I have it all the way on 10 here. The switch is in the middle position, number 3. And I'm bringing up the volumes of both these pickups, just like starting on volume 1. And just bring them up barely so that they're barely on, and then bang on it. Now don't forget, you're not rolling into the PA. You're not going into a different amp. You're still in the little high gain guitar amp, pulling it off so you know. And then when it comes time for the solo in this song, really all you do is turn up the mood knob and turn up this volume. And there you go, wailing. And I encourage you to find your own tones on your Teye guitar. I certainly try to every single day. Find new secrets hidden every single time. So wish you much pleasure with your own experimentation, and I hope you like my little demonstration. Thank you very much.